I will be showing you how to go from this to this. I will be comparing and benchmarking each major setting for graphics and performance differences so you can better optimize the game for your system. And I will be giving you my optimized settings as well. Let's start with the CPU performance. With an R5 3600X at around 80 to 100 FPS, the game starts to get CPU limited, which is just about what I would expect for a game like this. Now, let's get into the settings. Starting with upscaling, which also encompasses anti-aliasing techniques. As usual, DLAA and DLSS look the best overall, followed by Unreal Engine's TSR, which is noticeably superior to TAA, while XeSS and FSR 2.2 are just horrible to look at. Stick to DLAA or DLSS if you have an RTX card, otherwise just use TSR. The view distance setting has minor improvements with each option, allowing you to see things like spotlights and chimney smokes farther in the scene. Since there is a minor impact on FPS, set it to epic for that needed level of detail. The anti-aliasing options are basic. Both low and medium look identical, while high and epic also look identical, and both look a bit more stable. This setting is only available if you're using TAA or TSR. Low and medium post-processing have some weird visual issues that I don't think were intended. They seem to add shimmering lens flares on objects, as well as add aliasing on some objects like this transparent sign. These issues go away though with high and epic. The shadow setting also affects volumetric lighting. Having this option on low completely disables volumetrics, ruining the look of some scenes entirely, while each step higher increases their quality, which can easily be seen on streetlights. This setting can have a bigger impact on FPS depending on the scene. My recommendation is medium or high. The texture setting doesn't seem to make any difference in visuals or VRAM. Each setting was tested after a complete restart of the game. The setting may not be working properly. The effects setting has a big impact on visuals. In this interior scene, for example, it affects global illumination and light diffusion. There also appears to be visual noise no matter what settings you choose. This is most commonly found when games use denoisers for ray tracing. Therefore, the game is probably using some kind of software-based ray tracing here. I would like to mention that the noise is most minimized when using TSR. As for motion blur, I honestly couldn't tell the difference between on and off. The performance was identical as well. Maybe there is a difference, but I just couldn't see it. You would be forgiven if you thought that the high quality lumen reflection setting was broken, as at first glance, One would think that it doesn't make any difference both visually or performance-wise, as can be seen when looking at water reflections, but it does. On objects like this car for example, the effect can be seen working, having a subtle impact on visuals. Performance-wise, it almost has no impact, so keep it on unless you notice a decrease in FPS. Comparing the max settings versus the optimized settings, it's clear that this is one of the least scalable games of the year. I honestly expected more scalability. The game doesn't even look that good for its frame rate. Most of the performance uplift came from turning on DLSS quality, and performance still drops below 60 FPS on an RTX 3060 in heavy scenes, like firefights, although it's not shown in this test. This is another one of those games that try to use the newest Unreal Engine 5 features but end up looking average at best while costing performance to tank.